Saturday morning, and Trevor, Sage, and I are on our way to the grocery store to get our groceries for the week. We eat a fairly high protein diet, roughly about like 30 to 50 grams of protein per meal. I started eating this way when I was first pregnant with Sage, back there, and it's what I continued to eat in order to help me achieve my 20-pound postpartum weight loss goal after having Sage. It's definitely a way that makes us feel our best. We feel so much more energized. Sage also eats like very high quality source of protein, loves it, and we feel like it helps to make her energy levels so stable, and she's such like a calm and happy baby. And I know a lot of my community and a lot of people can really struggle with finding like really delicious and simple ways to eat higher protein meals. So I wanted to bring you guys along today to see what it is we buy in a week, show you exactly what we buy, as well as a week of meal ideas of what we'll be having for this week. And today's video is also sponsored by Element, but more on them in a bit. So I always plan my meals on my phone, just like in the notes section. I usually plan it out like Sunday through Thursday, although we're going today to the grocery store on Saturday, so I also have Saturday in there too. I always first think of like what the protein source is going to be and then work the rest of the meal around that. For our first meals and for our lunch, so our breakfast/breakfast and lunch, those are always pretty simple. We're usually having some type of either protein smoothie with our protein powder, or having like a Greek yogurt/skyr bowl, a cottage cheese bowl, eggs. So those are things that we make sure we really stock up on and always have as high quality source of protein, and also for a meal that's super fast and easy. And then once I figure out what I'm making for the week, and I put it into the section just below what we're having for the week, and I break it up into sections like meat and dairy and produce and like the pantry stuff and frozen stuff. So it just makes going through the grocery store so much easier, and we can be way more efficient, because as you can see, Sage is like falling asleep right now. Sagey, no. So we have to be very efficient with our time.
Get onions. You can hold it for us. Oh boy. Three. Good job. Here, Sadie. Excuse me, Sadie.
Okay, we just got back and I have a ton of groceries to put away. I'm going to go through exactly what we bought, as well as the meals I'm making this week. But before we do that, I want to give a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Element. I'm actually currently drinking my grapefruit Element right now. I'm currently pregnant and I am definitely susceptible to leg cramps, so I need my electrolytes. Element is an amazing electrolyte company that was specifically created with intermittent fasting, low carb eating, and whole food eating in mind. They actually contain the sodium, magnesium, and potassium to help balance electrolyte levels, all without having any sugar. So it's really great for me right now to help prevent those muscle cramps. Because I'm a nutritionist and because I know how important electrolytes are, in the past, before I started using Element, I would use just regular salt. And to be honest, I was not very consistent with it because it just didn't taste good to put salt in water. My favorite thing about Element is that it actually tastes good. It makes it so easy to remember to get my daily electrolytes in. My all-time favorite Element flavor is grapefruit salt, but they also come in a ton of other delicious flavors too, like orange, citrus, raspberry, and they even have a chocolate flavor that tastes really good with hot water to make like a hot chocolate alternative. And right now, Element is offering my viewers a free sample pack with any order. That's 8 single serve packets free with any Element order. It's a really great way to test out all 8 flavors. So you can get yours at drinkelement.com/autumn. This is only available through my link, so make sure to check out drinklmnt.com/autumn. The link is also in the description down below. Okay, so this is like one of our biggest grocery hauls. I really needed to restock our fridge, our pantry, and our freezer. So first, let's start off with the protein proteins. As I mentioned, I structure all our meals around the proteins, and we usually have either like beef or chicken, sometimes lamb, sometimes fish at dinner. And then breakfast is usually like eggs or some type of skyr or my protein powder. And then same thing with lunch, or I'll sometimes have tuna for lunch. And I used to use Butcher Box, but I kind of stopped using them because I like going to the grocery store and actually being able to pick out what I'm having each week. I just have too much recipe testing I'm always doing to stick to like a specific set order for the month. So for this week, lots of meat. I have 4 things of ground beef. So I got 4 pounds of that. And then I also got some just regular chicken breasts. And then I also got some boneless, skinless chicken thighs. So tonight I'm making meatballs. It's kind of like my go-to pairing with a lot of our different meals because it's so easy and it's just like really easy to add a lot of flavor. My daughter Sage loves them. We love them. And you can add it to so many different things. So I'm making like a grilled chopped salad thing tonight with some meatballs. And then I wanted to do like a spin on a ramen bowl because it is kind of chilly out. So that's what the chicken thighs are for. I'm just going to poach those and shred it and put it inside of there. And then I'm making things like my shepherd's pie recipe, which is such a huge hit on my blog. It's like one of our most viewed recipes on the blog. Some type of chili recipe that I'm going to be testing for this year's summer meal plan. And then another like meatballs and marinara and veggie meal. And then with the chicken, I'm doing like a Greek marinated chicken that I'm going to grill and then pair with the summer veggies hash recipe from my 6-week body recomp program. That one is so fast and so easy, which is so important, especially being a mom and a business owner and being pregnant. I don't have the time for long, complicated recipes. Okay, and then I got a few frozen things. I got some fire roasted corn. Corn can get a bad reputation, but it's actually not as high glycemic load as you would think, especially when you're pairing it with other things like with the ground beef or other veggies, which is what I'm doing for the chili recipe. And then I got some frozen fruit for some protein smoothies this week. Okay, now like the whole dairy aisle is right here. We go through so much cottage cheese. It's insane. I eat a lot. Sage eats a lot. It's like my hack for a very fast and easy lunch because using just about 1/2 of these larger containers gives you roughly 30 grams of complete protein. And I'll make various cottage cheese bowls, usually with like sauteed blueberries or some just fresh blueberries or apple. And then I'll add either like peanut butter or my homemade grain-free granola recipe, which I also got ingredients for to make this week. Okay, another dairy item that we use a lot of is milk. We use whole milk. So obviously this is also going to have some protein in it, but we don't really use it for protein because you need to like have a lot of it in order to hit your protein needs. Each cup I think only has like 6 to 8 grams of protein. Lately I've been liking it in my coffee, and Sage, my daughter, just loves milk. We use full fat dairy. Full fat dairy is so much more nutrient dense. You get a higher amount of vitamin K2, which is so important for bone health, for heart health, and a lot of people are really lacking in vitamin K2. So we use a full fat dairy, and this is our favorite brand. It's just so good. And even though I bought 3 of these, we're gonna have to get more later. I mentioned my grain-free granola recipe. That's actually what I got these coconut shreds for. And then earlier in the week, I got some more pecans and walnuts. This is a recipe that I developed for our upcoming, I think it's for our fall meal plan, which I've never done a fall meal plan before. I'm so excited for it this year. There's so many cozy, delicious recipes. I can't wait. It's the first year we've done a fall meal plan, and I know you guys are gonna love it. So make sure you subscribe to my weekly newsletter to stay in the loop, because you'll definitely want to be alerted when the summer meal plan and the new fall meal plan are both released. So many brand new delicious recipes. But anyway, I'll be making that recipe. It's so good, and it's 0 added sugar. It's like a chocolatey chocolate chip granola. I actually made it for my family as well for their stocking stuffers in this year's Christmas. My mom just texted me the other day saying like, can I get that recipe? It's really good. Okay, and then I got some bone broth, which bone broth is a great way to sneak in collagen. It's the natural source of collagen. I got a reduced sodium one as well as just like a regular one. This one I'm actually making a smoothie recipe with. I'm not sure if that video will be out yet, but if it is, I'll link it up here if you guys want to check that out. Even more dairy. I got some goat cheese to go along. I think I'm gonna pair this with that like grilled chopped salad recipe we're having tonight. Another one I'm kind of recipe testing for the summer meal plan. And then to continue the dairy roll we're on, I love using skyr. You guys have heard me talk about skyr so much over the last multiple years. I love it, especially if you have a hard time getting enough protein in, because skyr is so much higher in protein than all of the other yogurts. The one problem with skyr is that it tends to be low fat or 0 fat. So the only brand that I found that actually does a full fat amount is Siggy's, which you do have to be careful when getting Siggy's because their full fat and their 0% fat look very similar. And especially for making sure I'm getting enough protein, fat, and fiber for not only satiety purposes, but also the nutrient density is so much higher, especially with vitamin K2. So I only get full fat fat dairy products, and skyr is one of them, so make sure you look out for the full fat skyr. Since things like yogurt and cottage cheese take a little bit to go bad, I just always make sure we're fully stocked because I know we use it so often. We use skyr paired with my protein powder in smoothies. We'll also use it as a topping to our chocolate chip protein waffles or protein pancakes. We use that instead of having like syrup or some other type of sugary topping, plus it helps to bump up the protein even further. These little sneaky hacks really help to reduce the sugar while also increasing the high quality protein. And then I was completely out of tahini. I actually don't even think I need it right now, but because I'm always recipe testing and kind of like changing my mind midweek on what it is that I want to make, if I notice I'm out of something that I use often, I just stock up on it. And I love using tahini in smoothies. I'll also use it in a lot of different like sauces and dressings. I love tahini. Okay, now we're kind of getting into like the veggies. So we mostly stick to low glycemic load veggies and fruits, with a few exceptions. We are quite active, so I also do incorporate some medium and also some high glycemic load carbohydrates, but we mostly have low glycemic load. These are the ones that don't really spike blood sugar very much. They also tend to be more micronutrient dense. They also tend to add more flavor to the meals. So especially our dinners are loaded with these micronutrient dense, low glycemic load carbohydrates from things like tomatoes, asparagus, zucchini. But then because I'm not working toward a weight loss goal and because we are so active, we do have those more medium and sometimes high glycemic load foods in there too, just more specifically at dinner so we don't get energy crashes during the day. Those more medium and higher glycemic load carbs aren't as satiating as the low glycemic load carbs because they aren't going to have as much fiber, but they do help with muscle recovery, which is very important if you are very active and you're actually looking to see the benefits and results of your workouts. I do pretty heavy strength training. I also do Pilates and I also walk a lot, and also I'm pregnant. So I want to make sure that I'm properly refueling as well. However, when I was in my postpartum weight loss journey, I didn't really have any of the high glycemic load. I mostly only had the low glycemic load. We have some zucchini. I got a bunch of zucchini actually. I like to make recipes that use a lot of the same ingredients. That way it just simplifies my fridge, but it also helps to keep the overall cost of your groceries a little bit lower. Basil, because I'm going to be making a lot of pesto and then freezing the extras and putting it in the freezer. So speaking of medium glycemic load, we also get a lot of bananas because we use about half of a banana each time we make a smoothie or when we're making our protein pancakes or protein waffles. But even when you are on a weight loss journey, unless you are really carb sensitive, most people can have half a banana when it's paired with other protein, fats, and fibers, which is what all my recipes do. Lots of onions. We go through so many onions because they just add so much flavor. Love it. And then I got a few of the Japanese sweet potatoes. I love Japanese sweet potatoes over like regular sweet potatoes. I just think they taste a lot better. I also love purple sweet potatoes. So although this is purple, it's actually not a purple sweet potato. Purple sweet potato, when you cut into it, is purple all the way through. Japanese sweet potato is not, it's white on the inside. But I'm gonna be using this in the summer hash recipe. But if I decide to change my mind last minute, I could also like make mashed sweet potato, or I can roast it up and make like sweet potato fries. So many opportunities with sweet potatoes. Also got a cucumber too. I think I'm going to be putting that in that like chopped salad that I'm testing out. A thing of blueberries. We go through a lot of blueberries in this house because Sage loves blueberries. We also get frozen blueberries too that we'll saute up and put on yogurt bowls or put on our pancakes. Sage also loves that too, and it's a good hack to bring out extra sweet flavor without adding in sugar. And then bell pepper, I think this is for the chili recipe I'm testing out, but I can't remember. Some green onion and cilantro. I don't fully remember what the cilantro was for. This is why it's so important to make a list of what you're eating for the week. I think it was for the chili. I can't remember. We'll reference the list later. But I love green onions. I think I'm putting it in that like ramen-y style meal I'm making. Oh, like even just the smell, it smells so good. Also, whenever I'm testing like new recipe, I like to stick with some of the more traditional ingredients first. And then once I have the like basic type of recipe down, then I can start to experiment with different swaps. So having like soba noodles, even though this one's made with like buckwheat and some better ingredients, it's still not a great option if you are very carb sensitive. So when I'm making this like ramen alternative type of recipe this week, I'm gonna be using this, and then I'm going to be experimenting with different types of noodle alternatives that are better for the different goals, especially when I'm developing it for my programs. And then I got some asparagus, which I'm also going to be putting in that like grilled chopped salad. I think that's gonna be like a huge hit. I'm very excited about that one for the summer meal plan. Some avocados. I like to pair avocados with canned tuna and make like a quick little like tuna salad with some cabbage slaw. That's another really quick go-to lunch recipe for me. Lots of carrots. I'm using carrots in a lot of different recipes this week. And then the canned tomatoes. So this is going to be in that chili recipe that I mentioned earlier. To organize my fridge a little bit better, I got these little containers, and they're specifically meant to put your produce into, and I found it just makes it so my fridge is is so much more visual and I can actually see the veggies that I have and the produce that I have, which does make it a lot easier for me to be creative or get inspired about the type of different meals I want to make so that I can continue to develop new recipes for you guys that taste amazing. But it also helps to see what I actually have in the fridge, which is so helpful for preventing food waste, because I hate when I like miss that there's tomatoes in the back of the fridge that I totally would have used in a recipe if I knew they were in there, but I didn't see them because it was behind something. And especially with all of these like plastic bags, it's really hard to actually see what's in them or what's behind whatever's in it. So these have been a huge game changer. Getting inspired by your food and having delicious, tasty meals is a huge important factor for actually sticking to high protein, fat, and fiber meals that support your goals, make you feel great, but also taste good. So that's why having all this delicious ingredients, planning in advance some of these recipes that I'm actually inspired to make is so important for preventing me from just like getting a breakfast burrito down the street. Which I'm not gonna lie, during pregnancy, there were a couple of times that did happen, which I actually have a free 5-day high protein meal plan. If you guys wanna check that out, I'll have it linked down description below. It's 5 days of high protein meals, the exact recipes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for each of the 5 days. So it's a really great place to start, especially if you aren't used to eating protein, fat, and fiber, or eating enough protein, and especially for getting inspiration for meals that actually taste great. Which, speaking of delicious meals, if you do want that chocolate chip protein waffle recipe, it is so dang good. You absolutely need it in your life. I'll have it linked right up here if you want to check it out. Also, if you're new to my channel and you love this science-backed and delicious information, make sure you subscribe right here. I come out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.